Hello everyone, it's Jill the Wandering Stamper. Thanks for joining me again. This week we've been at beautiful Alafire River State Park in Lithia. It's a great place to mountain bike if you like to do that kind of thing. We did a lot of hiking, some biking, enjoyed nature. The birds here are amazing. But now it's time to go in the RV and have some fun in the stamp pad. So I hope you can join me making these beautiful cards we're going to make today. See you there. Okay, we're gonna jump right into the suite because it's so cute. I can't even stand it. This is the Butterfly Kisses suite. It comes with the Best Butterflies stamp set, the Build a Butterfly dies, which as you can see, they're very creative, and they also will cut out some of the Best Butterflies paper. This actually is called Butterfly Kisses. It's a designer series paper that measures 6 by 6. Some of the dies will cut out the butterflies, so you don't always have to stamp them if you don't want to. This paper is so cute. It's very bright, and I think that it screams springtime. And don't worry if you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's so many butterflies, because it's double-sided. So on the back you get lots of pretty patterns as well. So there's a little bit of everything in here: flowers, backgrounds, butterflies, and there's even some colors that you could use for gender neutral cards. And then in addition to the paper, the stamps, and the dies, the suite also comes with these fun flowers resin shapes. They are adhesive backed and they're super cute and match the paper perfectly. So today we're going to use these products to create a fun fold Z card. It's super simple to make, but because of the unique fold, it's really going to impress the person who receives it. It's going to be such a special card. So let me show you how to make this simple card. Grab my handy dandy paper cutter, and we're going to start out with a piece of Night of Navy cardstock, which coordinates with the colors. We're actually going to use these designer series papers to go with it. So as you can see, everything matches really nicely. So you're going to take your card base, and it's 8.5 by 11. So you're going to cut it to 5.5 by 11. So we're just going to cut the end off at 5.5 inches. I love this cutter because it holds the cutting blade and the scoring blade on the track so that you don't have to take them on and off, which is really great. And it also has a ruler down the side so you can see all of your side measurements this way, and it's clear so you can see everything you're doing. I love this cutter. I got rid of all my other cutters once this came out, and I will never go back. So once you take your 5.5 by 11 cardstock, you're going to go ahead and score it on the 12-inch side. You're going to score it at 1 3/4 inches, 3.5 inches, 5 1/4 inches, and we're going to pull this arm out so you can go a little longer and score at 7 inches. So that's 1 3/4 inches, 3.5 inches, 5 1/4 inches, and 7 inches. So once that all is scored, we'll set that aside. And then we are going to be left over with this piece, which happens to be 3 inches wide, which is what you need. And you need to cut that so it's 6 inches long. I love when you get to use up all of a sheet of paper. And then we're going to score it at 3 inches, so we're scoring it in half. All right, so we're going to set that aside. And then we're going to grab our designer series paper. I'm going to use this as my front of my card for my inside accordion panel. So I'm going to cut these at 1.5 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I'm going to need 3. Now this is directional, so I want to make sure when I cut this that my butterflies are going to be aligned the right way. So I'm going to go ahead and make the 5 1/4 inch side first. Let's see, I'm going to do it. I'll do it this way. 5 1/4 inches. So that way I know that my butterflies will be the right direction. And then I'm going to cut them at 1.5 inches. Just double checking my notes, make sure I don't mess this up. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then set this aside for another project. So that's for my accordion. And then I'm going to get my other pieces of designer series paper. I kind of wanted to have 2 different designs. And we're going to go ahead and cut a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 panel. And then also, this is kind of directional if you want them to match up. So I want to make sure I have both of my pieces of paper the same direction. And I'm going to cut 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And I'm going to set that aside. And then I need my back panel for the inside of the card. So that's going to be 3 3/4 inches. Again, I want to be mindful of my pattern, make sure it's going in the same direction. 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Okay, so these both go in the same direction. And then the last thing you want to do, and I've already done this, is you're going to cut 2 pieces. One goes on the front and one goes on the front of the card on the 3x6 panel, and one will be centered on this piece. So that's going to be 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Both of those pieces. So you're going to cut 2 pieces of white at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So that is all of our cutting. And now we're going to put it together. So as you can see, we have a score line, a score line, a score line, a score line, and then a large panel. This is the back of the card. So you're going to start with a mountain fold, and then a valley, and then a mountain, and then a valley, and fold those down. And you want to use your bone folder and really get a good crease so that this is easy to work with. I'll give it a good crease. So now you have your Z fold, okay? And then you're going to take your other panel, which was 3x6, and it was scored in half. And you're going to do the same thing to that. That's going to create that piece right here. All right. So now we're going to open it up a little bit, and we're going to get our silicone craft sheet and our 3 panels that are going to go on here, and make sure they're all facing the correct direction. And I have, there it is. Thought I lost my Stampin' Seal. I'm using my Stampin' Seal for this, and I'm just going to put a little line of adhesive on this. And then you're going to put the first one, you're going to center it on this panel, straight as possible, okay? And then get the next piece. Okay, and then that goes on the second panel. If you open these, a little tip, if you open these up, you can make sure you're putting them all at the same height. And then you have the third piece. I have a hair. I shed. Does anybody else shed? I seem to shed a lot. All right. And then this one, again, make sure your butterflies are facing the right way. And center that one right here. Okay, and then this one we're going to leave blank. We're not doing anything with this one. Okay, so now we'll get our piece for the back. Whoops, that is not the piece. This is the piece. And we're going to put some adhesive on this. And we'll put this on as centered as possible. Okay, so now we have that like that. So we're going to set this aside for now, and we're going to start with our front pieces. For the sake of time, I went ahead and started stamping my front piece. I am going to have it say sending good vibes, and what I did was this is too long to go across this piece of white, so I stamped just the word sending, and then I did good vibes in the Night of Navy ink just to kind of pull in all the colors, and then I added some mini dimensionals to the back. Let me use my take your pick tool and corral these little backings off here. Before I got this tool, I had little pieces of white paper all over the place. You wouldn't believe. I called them little Klingons. They showed up everywhere. And I'm gonna go ahead and let this kind of hang off. I think it's cute that way. Okay. So then I wanted a butterfly on here. Now on this card, I stamped the butterfly pieces and then I cut them out with the dies and added my vellum, which I also cut out. So I basically stamped and cut a butterfly. On this card, all I did was cut out a butterfly from this designer series paper and added that. So you really have a lot of versatility on this card. So on this card, I decided to take the designer series paper. I actually use this sheet and I use the dies, and there are dies that will cut these pieces out for you. So I went ahead and used the dies and cut these out. So you can fussy cut, you can use the dies, and you can stamp and cut out with the dies. So there's a lot of things you can do with this set. So now I'm going to give it just a little bit of a curl because I like, you know, the butterflies to seem a little bit alive here. So I'm just giving it a little curl. Okay. And then you just want to decide how you want your petals, your wings. Do you want them this way? I mean, I could do it either direction. I think I'm going to do it this way. I kind of like that. So I'm going to get my liquid glue. I think that's the easiest thing to work with. And I'm going to put a little bit here, just a small amount, and a little bit here. And then I'm going to lay this where I want it to be. The nice thing is this can hang off the card. It's perfectly fine. So I think I'll put that piece there. And this piece here. And when you use the die, you actually kind of can see where the body of the butterfly goes. So that makes it quite easy. And then I also cut out the body of it, but before we put that on, I got a piece of vellum. I love vellum because it's slightly see-through, but this kind of adds like a little delicateness to the butterfly. So I'm going to go ahead, I die cut these pieces out and they match the pieces on the butterfly. So we've got that one. And we've got this one. This would actually be really pretty on gift bags and boxes too. And we've got this one. So since I'm gonna hide the middle, I'm really not too worried about the glue showing, but if your glue is gonna show, you can just dab it on with a sponge and it's almost transparent, but we're not worried about that right now. So I'm just gonna put this here. Just hold it for a second. And then I'll put this piece here. Just kind of matching it up with the cardstock. Okay. And then I'm going to take the body of the butterfly. I'm going to flip him over And I'm going to add just a little bit of glue to him. See, this is the beauty of the silicone craft sheet. I just flipped my glue over, but it's not a problem. That'll dry and I can rub it right off and my work surface will not be sticky. I'm going to put that right here. And just hold it for a couple of seconds. This glue dries pretty fast. Okay, so that's the front of my card. Cute. I'm going to give that a moment to dry. And then I'm going to take this panel and open it up. So we have a left side and a right side. On the right side, I keep grabbing the wrong piece of paper. That's what happens when I don't put my scraps away. So we're going to adhere this piece here. Just a little bit of adhesive. Center that on there. Again, I want to match up the direction that my lines are going. Put that on there. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing by adding this piece here. Now you could, if you're feeling, you can see I didn't like the way that came out, so I flipped the paper over and started over. I actually could use my glue or my Stampin' Seal, but I just happen to have the glue handy, so there we go. And then we're going to put this on here. Now you could put this piece of paper on first and then decorate it. I was a little bit worried about not getting it right. I don't always get it right, so I wanted to do it and then add it to the panel. So just give that a little second to dry. Look how cute that is. So now that's done. We're going to set that aside for a moment so it can dry a little more. And then this piece is going to be centered on here. So what I'm going to do, I decided not to have a sentiment on this one. I think what I want to do is pull out some of these fun flower shapes and pull in some of my colors from the card. So I think I'll do some blue. And then I really like this color. I think I'll use a little one. Put that there. And I think I'll use a yellow one. Put that there. So I'm continuing to pull all the colors in my card together. So now I'm going to use some adhesive. You could actually put this one down first and then add your flowers because you're really not going to have a problem with it, but it doesn't really matter. It's whatever you like to do. So now I'm going to center this on here as best I can. Okay, so the back's done. Look how cute. So now we're going to put it all together. So to put it all together, you're going to take your piece, flip it over, and just put the adhesive down the side. So this side and this side, because we want it to move freely. I'm going to actually use 2 little strips. Okay, so now we're going to take our card, and what I like to do is kind of hold it over the white piece so I know that the white piece is going to be covered when the card's closed. And then I just push all the pieces down like that. And there you go. How cute is that? It's so bright and happy. This one actually may go to my granddaughter because I really like it, and I think she would enjoy getting it. So you have plenty of room to put a message. You could actually add another panel to the back, a white panel to the back, to if you wanted to write more. But this is a pretty little card for springtime. It's very easy to make. You could use flowers. I love that everything can kind of, as long as it's not taller than your card, you can put whatever you want on the front. You could use long stem flowers. You could use any kind of shapes. It's just a fun, happy, easy little card design. It does fit in a regular envelope. So let's take one more look at what we made. So this is the one we made today. And then this is the one I made yesterday. This one says, "You're my bestie and all the love." I just used another color of the coordinating color cardstock. And then this one here is the other one I made. This one I stamped the wings of the butterfly and cut them out using the dies and then I added the vellum to the top. This one says, "Hey, so glad you exist." So that's a fun little card. And these 3 colors all coordinate with the paper. This is Calypso Coral, this is Crushed Curry, and this is Night of Navy. So I hope you enjoyed the video on how to make this card. If you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll have all of the instructions and cutting and scoring dimensions on a link below, along with a link to my online store. So if there's anything that you need to add to your shop, to your craft room to create these cards, you can. I'm Jill with The Wandering Stamper, and I'm so happy you joined me today. Have a great rest of your day.